When a person grows old, they do not become weaker. They become deeper, wiser, more sensitive to what truly matters. But it is precisely at that moment, when the soul opens up, when there is time for reflection and for oneself, that many people encounter pain. Not because life has ended, but because it has become more honest. And in this honesty, silence often speaks. Silence from those who once called you mom or dad, those who once held your hand and never let go. Now they are far away, not only physically, but in spirit. What can you do when, in old age, you feel forgotten? When the children you poured your life into no longer respond with love? Alfred Adler, Carl Jung, Sigmund Freud, great minds who dedicated their lives to understanding the human psyche, knew the answer to this question long ago, an answer that does not offer simple comfort, but healing. Alfred Adler said, "The most important thing in life is not to be needed, but to be yourself." Adler believed that a person is not merely the sum of their roles, not just mother, father, son, or daughter. True value lies in how we relate to ourselves. If your children do not appreciate you, it is not always a tragedy. It is a mirror, a reflection of something they are not yet able to understand. But that does not mean you are any less significant. It means that the time has come to return to yourself. Carl Jung went even deeper. He wrote, "What you reject within yourself will one day return as your destiny." Many parents sacrifice themselves for a lifetime, for their children, for their families. They postpone dreams, forget their desires, put themselves last, and this becomes the norm. But eventually, the age comes when there is nothing left to give, and the soul begins to ask for something in return. Jung said that all that has been rejected must eventually be faced. If you have felt resentment, bitterness, exhaustion, now is the time to acknowledge it, without guilt, without expectation. Sigmund Freud added, "A person is healthy when they can love and work. But in old age, many lose both. Children no longer need us, and work may no longer be there. But to love does not mean loving someone specific. It means being capable of feeling warmth, interest in life, in yourself, in the world. And to work means to be of use, to yourself, to your soul. If you are not valued, this is not the end. It is a turning point toward real life, toward a place where you are not a function, not a role, but a human being. Think about it. You gave your children everything you could. You were stronger than you thought, wiser than you admitted. But now, this is your life, and you can live it as you wish. When the soul is heavy, a person seeks someone to blame, most often within themselves. Where did I go wrong? Why was I too soft, too strict, too myself? Maybe I didn't love enough, or perhaps I suffocated them with my care. One of the most destructive traps is guilt, and this feeling, guilt, finds a comfortable home in old age. Because as the years pass, we begin to see the past differently, more clearly, more sharply, and sometimes more painfully. But let us remember what Carl Jung said. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Darkness is not evil, it is not punishment. It is simply what we have long refused to see. It is the pain accumulated over decades, the disappointments we never voiced, the sacrifices that were never acknowledged. And now, in the silence, when the children have grown and gone, all of this rises from within. But Jung taught, in this darkness lies the path to healing. If you feel guilt, don't run from it. Sit beside it, listen, but do not judge yourself. Because guilt is often not about mistakes. It is about love that still lives within you, with nowhere left to go. Alfred Adler once said, "Love is not a sacrifice, it is a choice made with joy." You are not guilty for loving. You are not guilty for wanting to be needed. You are not guilty for dreaming that one day in your old age, your children would be near. But now is the time to make a new choice, a choice in favor of yourself. unspent love should not become bitterness. It can become care for yourself. You can redirect that energy into yourself, into what brings you joy. Into music, a walk, a book, a cup of hot tea, a conversation with nature, a smile to a stranger, into a quiet evening where you simply feel, I am alive. Sigmund Freud once said, most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. But you have already walked the road of responsibility. You were once needed, important, irreplaceable, and now you are free. Not from your children, not from duties. Free to be yourself, without expectations, without a role. Your age is not about the end. It is about the return to your desires, to your feelings, to yourself that lived so long for others. If your children do not appreciate you now, this is not a reason to break yourself. It is a reason to gently but firmly reclaim your inner strength, because no one can give you love if you don't give it to yourself first. What do you do when it feels like everything is behind you? When the children are gone, the work is done, and the house feels too quiet? Alfred Adler said, life only has meaning when it is lived for something greater than oneself. And this is the key. Old age is not a cliff. It is a turn in the road toward a place where you no longer have to meet anyone's expectations, where you can walk slowly, speak your truth, and never apologize for your tears or your silence. Meaning no longer lies in roles, nor in function. It lies within you. What did you love to do when you were young? What did you dream of trying but kept putting off for later? Perhaps painting, writing, singing, walking alone in the morning without having to explain yourself? Maybe just drinking tea in complete silence without thinking of anyone else's needs. Carl Jung wrote, the second half of life is devoted to the development of the soul. The outer world has already been explored. Now it is time for the inner world. You can create a space where your soul feels at peace, where you don't need to prove your worth, where you can simply be. Sometimes we live as if everything we've done was in vain. If the children are ungrateful, if loved ones have forgotten, then maybe we did something wrong. But that is an illusion. You were the best version of yourself you could be. You gave all the strength you had, and you are still here, which means you can live again. Freud said, a person's strength lies in the ability to love unconditionally, but true freedom lies in not depending on that love. Yes, you loved, perhaps without reciprocity, perhaps at the cost of yourself, but now you can choose to love without destroying yourself, to be present without losing yourself. And if no one is beside you, that is not emptiness. It is space, a space that belongs to you. Find what gives you breath. Perhaps it's a book, perhaps a tree outside your home that you want to reach out and touch. Perhaps a walk in the park where you simply look at the world and breathe. Create your own little rituals, not for anyone else, for yourself. A warm bath in the evening, a candle on the windowsill, a quiet playlist that needs no explanation, a soft scarf you can wrap around you like an embrace. Let no one ask how you're doing. You can ask that of yourself. Wisdom comes in silence, and if no one around you understands, then understand yourself. That alone is enough. Old age is not loss. It is depth. It is the chance to live without masks, without striving to prove anything to the world. It is a time when you can simply be, to look at the sky longer than before, to notice how a raindrop slides down the window, to feel how breathing becomes a prayer, not in words, but in presence. You are not alone, because you are with yourself, and that is the most reliable companion there is. And do you know what happens when a person chooses themselves? They begin to shine, and that light attracts. And perhaps one day, your children will turn back. Not because they have to, but because they'll feel that you are alive, truly, freely, and that is inspiring. If your children do not value you in old age, don't seek revenge, don't cry, don't explain. Just choose yourself again and again until it becomes a habit, until it becomes your truth, because you can still be happy, not because of someone else, but simply because you are alive.